What can be said that already has not been said about this matchup between the Chiefs and the Bills for the AFC Championship game? The right to go to the Super Bowl goes through Arrowhead and Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to talk about in this video a couple things. What has changed since their Week 11 matchup where the Bills beat the Chiefs 30-21, and what has changed over the years where the Bills and Chiefs have faced off in the playoffs and the Bills just have not been able to get the wrong side of the Chiefs or not been able to get the better of the Chiefs in the playoffs. So going back to that Week 11 matchup, heading into that game, the Bills had three players who were listed as out. That was Matt Milano, Dalton Kincaid, and Keon Coleman. All contributors to their offense and defense. The Chiefs in that game had Isaiah Pacheco out. Charles Omenihu was out. Jalen Watson was on IR. Hollywood Brown was on IR. Four key players for the Chiefs were not in that game that they lost in Buffalo. Heading into this playoff matchup, the Chiefs are relatively healthy. The Bills are mostly healthy too. They have Taylor Rapp, who is dealing with a hip injury, who I believe will be doubtful come game time as far as his injury designation goes. But other than that, they have a pretty strong bill of health. The Bills will gain those three players that were out in the Week 11 matchup. Matt Milano, Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman. All of them will be back. What has changed for the Chiefs? Well, if you remember, in that Week 11 matchup, the Chiefs were kind of in the thick of having some major issues along the offensive side of the ball, particularly around protecting Patrick Mahomes. I believe the Chiefs have made changes since that point in time of the season. They have moved on from the experiment of Wanya Morris at the tackle position. They have decided to go with Joe Thuney, who has played admirably with Caliendo, playing fairly well at the left guard position. So the Chiefs have solidified their offensive line between now and Week 11. And other things that's changed is that DeAndre Hopkins, while he did play in that game versus Buffalo, he's had more time to ingest this Chiefs offense, which is very complicated to learn, and he's had time to grow within the team. In addition to that, Jalen Watson and Charles Omenihu are now healthy on the defensive side of the ball. Both those players will play a huge role in this matchup versus the Bills. And then Hollywood Brown and Isaiah Pacheco are added to the offense. Both pieces the Chiefs can use. In Week 11 this season, Mahomes wasn't good enough. In fact, he hasn't been good enough in the regular season most of the time versus the Bills. But the opposite is true about the playoffs. In 2020, the Chiefs and the Bills played in an AFC Championship game. They won that game 38-24. In 2021, divisional round game, the 13-second game none of us can forget. They won 42-36. In 2023, last season in Buffalo, the Chiefs won by a score of 27-24 in an AFC divisional round bout. One thing about all those playoff games for the Chiefs, 2020, 2021, 2023, the Chiefs were rolling with the same core components of their leadership. Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, and Matt Nagy were all there. The Bills, on the other hand, have had changing of the guard many times over the past several seasons because of frustration of not getting over the hump versus the Chiefs. In 2020 and 2021, the Bills' defensive coordinator was Leslie Frazier. In 2023, Sean McDermott had taken over the defensive responsibilities and was filling in as both head coach and defensive coordinator. And in 2024, first-year defensive coordinator Bobby Babich will be faced with stopping Mahomes. And the thing that was different for Mahomes and the Chiefs between their regular season games and their postseason games versus the Bills is that Mahomes' performance is night and day different. In the playoffs versus the Bills in 2020, Mahomes had a 127.6 passer rating. In 2021, 123.1 passer rating. In 2023, 131.6 passer rating. Mahomes has been so efficient in the playoffs, and he's been able to beat a nearly perfect Josh Allen because he has played more perfectly. But there's more to it than just Mahomes' play. Like I mentioned, the leadership for the Chiefs has been largely unchanged. The Bills' leadership has been shifting every year or so because of what happened to them in the playoffs versus the Chiefs. Last season, the Bills got away from their offensive coordinator and moved to Joe Brady. And so you were asking me, in this football game, in a must-win AFC Championship game between the Bills and the Chiefs, who are you going to trust more? Sean McDermott, a first-year defensive coordinator and a second-year offensive coordinator, versus Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo and Matt Nagy, who Matt Nagy we have many problems with, but you need to remember he won Coach of the Year in 2018. He took a Mitch Trubisky-led Bears team to a 12-5 record. So, or maybe it was 12-4 because I think it was 16 games back then. So leadership, from a leadership standpoint, the Chiefs have the Bills circled, and it's not even close. In addition to that, the Bills' success this season is hinged around the turnover battle. They had the fewest turnovers on offense and the third most turnovers forced on defense. This is what Bobby Babich wants to do. He wants to force turnovers. Before he was the defensive coordinator for the Bills, he served as their cornerbacks coach and then the safeties coach, and then he was promoted to defensive coordinator. So he is all about intercepting the ball, forcing turnovers. Do you know what Mahomes doesn't do in the playoffs? He doesn't throw interceptions. Very rarely does he throw interceptions in the playoffs. And if the Bills' success is hinged around the turnover battle, you saw what they did versus the Ravens last week. I do not like their chances in this game of winning the turnover battle versus the Chiefs. If they do, hats off to them, and I think they'll win this game. If the Chiefs take care of the ball and do what they do to win football games, they will be fine. They will not lose this game. Mahomes currently has a 3-0 record versus Josh Allen in the playoffs. I scoured as much as I could possibly scour and never found a case where one quarterback went 4-0 versus another quarterback in the playoffs. I looked at Terry Bradshaw's record. I looked at Tom Brady's record. I could not find an instance where this happened. I found one instance where a quarterback went 3-0 versus another in the playoffs, and that was Tom Brady versus Phillip Rivers over the span of like 12 years. To do what Mahomes has done against Josh Allen, going 3-0 against him in the playoffs, versus such a talented quarterback over such a short span of time, makes me wonder if the Bills, as they're currently constructed, can get it done versus Kansas City. Can they get it done with their head coach, Sean McDermott? Can they get it done with Josh Allen? Can they get it done with those two working together? If Mahomes goes 4-0 versus Josh Allen, the incredible Josh Allen, I must add, he is amazing. If he can go 4-0, he will do something that has never been done before, and the Chiefs will be heading to the Super Bowl to get a chance at a three-peat, which has never been done before. And I have to implore to you logically that to do something that has never been done before, you have to be in a situation that has never happened before. And the situation that is going for the Chiefs right now that has never happened before in NFL history is the Chiefs have the greatest quarterback who has ever played the game. They have arguably, and in my opinion, the greatest head coach to ever coach in the NFL. They have the only defensive coordinator in NFL history who is believed to be a Hall of Famer. They have perhaps one of the best defensive coordinators ever in the NFL. And then lastly, they have an offensive coordinator who we may have problems with, but they were coach of the year at one point in time. The leadership for the Chiefs, having the best quarterback of all time, the best head coach of all time, and perhaps the best defensive coordinator of all time, is an unprecedented situation. And to do something that's never been done before, you have to have something that's never happened before, and the Chiefs have it. I do not think the Bills will win this game. I do not think that a first-year defensive coordinator and a second-year offensive coordinator and an understudy of Andy Reid, a head coach, will be able to go into Kansas City versus one of the best defenses and win this game in Arrowhead. I am picking the Chiefs to win this football game by a score of 27-20. I think the Chiefs win. I think they cover the spread. And Patrick Mahomes goes 4-0 against Josh Allen in the playoffs. And for whatever reason, Mahomes just has this extra gear that he hits in the playoffs, and we're going to see it on Sunday. Let me know down in the comments what your opinions are. What are your predictions for this game? And if you made it this far, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. I am juiced for this AFC matchup, this AFC Championship game. It's an Arrowhead once again. If you're a Chiefs fan, just remember how lucky we are. I grew up watching the 90s Schottenheimer Chiefs, and I know all about playoff pain. And I am so happy and so appreciative of where the Chiefs are today. The fact that they've done the AFC Championship game 7 years in a row is unbelievable. And let's go and get this three-peat with this group of leadership that has never been seen in the NFL history at this level. Let's go, Chiefs. You'll have a good weekend. Take care.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.